The team that tops them all to me, Wisconsin. This is the team that returns everything. Experienced senior core, not like Michigan State where it's juniors and sophomores. This is a senior core. In other words, this is their season.
Yeah. Wisconsin, they had those couple of years with Frank the Tank where they were those national contenders, but this might be their best team. And you mentioned the core of seniors. They have 7 seniors on this team. Now, I don't think all of them are going to play, but certainly that's impressive. They're returning 4 players who averaged 9 points per game last year. Now, they are losing Pritzel, who he graduated. He was a good defender. He wasn't their best scorer, but he did give them very quality minutes, so his presence is going to be lost. And then Kobe King, he just kind of left. It was a really weird situation with him. 4th in recruiting last year. They ended the season hot. They were on an 8-game winning streak, and they won all 8 games, knowing that they basically had to do that to win a share of the Big Ten. And that included their final win on the road at Indiana. And this team, I believe they're Final Four good. I also believe that Illinois and Iowa have the Final Four potential. But, man, like you already mentioned, Wisconsin, I have them at the top of the conference as well. And we're both extremely high on Illinois. I don't know anyone else that's as high as us on Illinois, but Wisconsin is even better. And the floor of this team is a 4 seed or something like along that line. Like they're going to make the Sweet 16 barring injuries. They're set up to have an extremely good year.
And I think that ceiling is a number 1 seed with this team. Because this is what when I talk about having to have the depth and having to have the experience, Wisconsin is exactly what I'm talking about. Because experience in your core, that's the bona fide sign of this is our year. And this is the year for Wisconsin. After this season, Wisconsin will probably go back to being a tier 2A. Maybe in the lower end of a tier 2B if the recruiting classes aren't as strong. Right now, top of the conference, number 1 seed, probably a top 5 team in the entire country. I'm not sure what you cannot like about this Wisconsin team. Is there any sort of weaknesses that you can see to them?
They don't really have a go-to scorer, if you will. They rely on a team to get the job done. And in late game situations, that isn't the greatest thing to have. Now, of course, if you can get a guy to set a screen and then you drive and you can kick it out to anyone, now then, of course, that's great. But they don't have that Ayo DeSomu, that Luka Garza, that Rocket Watts, that some of these other top teams really have. That's where you're going to have to find a way to beat Wisconsin because they're an extremely deep and they're an extremely talented team. Those teams are always tough to beat, but I don't even think that's really a true weakness for them. I think that they're going to be an elite team this year for sure.
Yeah, and for 38 minutes, not having one go-to guy is going to benefit them because teams cannot focus on one guy at all. And you can say the same thing about Illinois. You can say the same thing about Iowa. Those last 2 minutes to where Wisconsin does need someone to absolutely step up from the pack, I can easily see what you're saying, and perhaps that cost them a little bit. It ain't going to cost them much, though, because they can all do it. They may not have a national player of the year, but they're going to have at least one all Big Ten first team. I think that's pretty obvious to me. They're all going to be, all big conference third team minimum and things like that. It's just, can you get that guy that can rise above when you need him to the most? And that's a big question, but it really isn't much of a question because this team can get it done pretty much all the time.